In the world of rare coins, stories of unexpected treasures have always captured people's attention. One of those stories surrounds a small coin that almost everyone has handled countless times in daily life, but in this case, one with a twist that makes it worth more than most cars, even more than some houses. The US 1971 dime coin with an error is a perfect example of how something as ordinary as a dime can transform into an incredible prize for collectors and enthusiasts. To understand why this coin stands out so dramatically, it's important to look not only at its design and history, but also at the strange path that turned a simple 10-cent piece into one of the most desirable error coins in American numismatic history, BY 1970. The Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for nearly 25 years, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away in 1945. It was chosen as a way to commemorate him because of his connection to the March of Dimes campaign, an effort that raised money to fight polio, the disease Roosevelt himself battled throughout his life. For decades, the dime carried his profile on the obverse, with the reverse design showing a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch to symbolize liberty, peace, and strength. It was a coin most Americans recognized without thinking twice, used daily in vending machines, laundromats, and cash registers. But in 1970, something unusual happened at the U.S. Mint that produced a handful of dimes unlike any others, and those mistakes now make the coin worth a staggering $66,000 to $142,000 depending on condition and rarity. Coin errors can come in many different forms: off-center strikes, double dies, missing elements, or even coins struck on the wrong planchet. For the 1970 Roosevelt dime, collectors have identified error types that are extremely rare. One of the most famous is a misstrike involving a coin being struck on a foreign planchet, creating a dime that looks off in weight, thickness, or color compared to the standard copper-nickel-clad pieces issued that year. When such an error occurs, it usually means a foreign coin blank was mistakenly fed into the machinery, resulting in a U.S. dime design struck on the wrong metal. These are the types of accidents that make seasoned collectors perk up, because their rarity ensures that demand will always be high. What makes the 1970 error dimes so exciting is that they are nearly impossible to spot unless someone is paying close attention. For decades, many likely went unnoticed, passed from hand to hand in daily commerce, used to buy gum or pay for a phone call, completely unrecognized for their true worth. Only careful eyes, often collectors hunting through rolls of coins from banks or estate sales, would notice subtle differences like a lighter or heavier weight, an unusual rim, or a strike that looked off-center. That moment of discovery is the thrill every collector dreams about, because it transforms an ordinary coin worth 10 cents into something that could fetch tens of thousands of dollars at auction. Auction records tell the story of how highly sought after these coins are. In recent years, examples of the 1970 error dime have sold for between $66,000 and $142,000 depending on condition and the exact nature of the error. That incredible leap in value is what creates such excitement in the coin world, because it reminds everyone that treasures might still be hiding in plain sight. What was once a dime tucked into a change jar or forgotten in a drawer is now a financial windfall for the lucky finder. And with error coins, condition plays an even greater role, since collectors place a premium on sharp detail and well-preserved surfaces. Knowing how few of these errors actually exist to fully appreciate why these values are so high, it helps to understand the psychology of coin collectors. Coins are more than just money. They are pieces of history, art, and in the case of errors, mysteries from the minting process itself. Error coins like the 1970 dime don't just show Roosevelt's profile. They tell the story of how mistakes at the U.S. Mint can slip through, even with strict quality control. It gives collectors a sense of holding something that shouldn't even exist, an anomaly that slipped past the eyes of mint workers and made its way into circulation. That element of chance, the idea that one person might find such a coin in their pocket change, is what keeps the hunt alive for so many enthusiasts. The 1970 dime also came at an interesting time in American coinage history. Just a few years earlier, in 1965, the U.S. Mint had stopped producing silver dimes, quarters, and half dollars for circulation, switching instead to copper-nickel-clad compositions. This change was made to conserve silver, which was becoming too valuable for everyday coinage. By 1970, the copper-nickel dimes were firmly in place, and yet some errors slipped through involving old planchets or misstrikes. For collectors, This period of transition makes error coins even more fascinating because they highlight the experimentation and challenges the mint faced in adjusting production. Stories have surfaced of collectors stumbling upon error coins in the most unexpected places. A coin roll hunter going through bank rolls of dimes might suddenly notice one that doesn't match the rest. Someone sorting through an inherited collection might come across a coin that feels different in hand. These are the real-life stories that keep people checking their change, because finding a coin that could be worth $66,000 to $142,000 is life-changing. It turns the hobby into a treasure hunt where the payoff could be massive. But how can someone know if they have one of these rare 1970 dime errors? It starts with careful observation. Error coins often reveal themselves through weight differences, unusual coloration, or striking anomalies. Using a magnifying glass, a scale, and good reference materials can help. Coin grading services like PCGS and NGC also play a critical role, as they authenticate and grade these coins, ensuring buyers and sellers know exactly what they are dealing with. A coin graded at the highest levels with an error designation can command those jaw-dropping auction prices, while one with more wear might still be worth tens of thousands but slightly less. Collectors often remind each other that the joy isn't just in finding such a coin, but in the story it tells. The 1970 dime error speaks to human error, to the complexity of mint machinery, and to the way chance can transform the everyday into the extraordinary. It is also a reminder that history is hidden in small places, like a 10-cent piece that most people overlook. To think that a coin so small, struck during an ordinary production run over 50 years ago, could today be worth over $100,000 is proof of how unpredictable and exciting numismatics can be. This coin has also fueled a wave of curiosity among casual collectors and everyday people. Videos, articles, and coin forums are filled with discussions about the 1970 dime and other similar errors. People share stories of coins they've checked, of rolls they've searched, and of the hope that one day they'll be the ones holding that special piece. The values attached to these coins, between $66,000 and $142,000, aren't just numbers. They represent the possibility of discovery, the excitement of chance, and the way a dime can go from pocket change to life-changing money. At its core, the story of the 1971 dime error is about more than money. It's about curiosity, perseverance, and the thrill of the hunt. It's about how even the smallest mistakes can lead to some of the greatest treasures. Collectors know that not everyone will ever find one, but the fact that some do means the chance is always there. That possibility is enough to keep people searching jars of change, buying coin rolls, and studying every detail of the dimes they come across. And as long as these coins continue to exist, their legend will only grow stronger. So the next time you come across a dime dated 1970, don't dismiss it as ordinary. Take a closer look. That little coin might just hold a hidden story, one worth far more than its face value. Who knows, what looks like just another Roosevelt dime could actually be your ticket to a piece of numismatic history, valued anywhere from $66,000 to $142,000. And that, more than anything, proves that treasures really can be hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right person to discover them. The story of the 1982 United States dime error coin is one of those fascinating tales in numismatics that captures the imagination of collectors and casual enthusiasts alike. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary 10-cent piece, the kind you've probably seen thousands of times in your life and never given much thought to. But hidden among the millions of dimes minted in 1982 are rare and extraordinary mistakes that transform a simple coin into a treasure worth between $52,000 and $126,000. It's hard to believe that something so small, so ordinary, can carry such an enormous value. Yet that's the magic of rare error coins, and the 1982 dime has become a star in this world. To appreciate why this coin is so important, we need to understand the context of the year 1982. It was a transitional and experimental time for the U.S. Mint. The government had been making changes to coinage, particularly with the penny, moving from solid copper to copper-plated zinc to save on production costs. While the dime itself did not go through as dramatic a composition change that year, the environment of minting experimentation and high production volume created an atmosphere where mistakes were bound to slip through. Millions of coins were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and when you're dealing with that scale of production, even the smallest error can turn into something extraordinary if it makes its way into circulation. So what makes the 1982 dime error so special? Unlike a normal Roosevelt dime, some of the 1982 dimes were struck without a mint mark, which is unusual because in 1980 the U.S. Mint had begun consistently adding mint marks to coins struck outside of Philadelphia. For collectors, this error created one of the most famous modern dimes, the 1982 No P dime. A dime that was supposed to display a tiny P on the obverse side, just above the date, was missing that crucial identifying letter. For a casual spender, this missing detail might seem insignificant, but for a collector, it's everything. A tiny omission transformed an ordinary coin into a legend. What's even more fascinating is how this error came to be. The missing mint mark was the result of a die that was prepared without having the mint mark punched into it. Because mint marks were applied manually at the time, it only took one oversight for an entire batch of dimes to be produced missing the P. Once those coins were struck and entered circulation, the error was essentially sealed into history. Over time, most of those coins were likely spent, lost, or damaged, but a small number survived in remarkable condition, and that scarcity has made them some of the most desirable modern error coins in existence. The value attached to the 1982 dime error has grown steadily over the years. When collectors first discovered it, the excitement was immediate and demand soared. The rarity of the coin, combined with its fascinating backstory, created a frenzy in the numismatic world. Today, depending on condition and grading, a 1982 error dime can command anywhere from $52,000 to an astounding $126,000 at auctions or private sales. That incredible price range is a reminder that what looks like ordinary pocket change can actually be worth more than luxury cars, vacations, or even a down payment on a house. What makes the 1982 error dime even more appealing is the fact that it could still be out there, hiding in plain sight. Many of these coins entered regular circulation, meaning they could have been handed out in change at a grocery store, slipped into a vending machine, or placed into a jar of spare coins sitting in someone's home. Countless stories circulate about individuals who found one of these dimes by accident while going through old collections or simply because they took the time to look closely at their change. That possibility that you or anyone else could stumble across a coin worth six figures adds a sense of mystery and excitement that keeps people searching. When we think about coin errors, we often imagine dramatic misstrikes or coins struck on the wrong metal planchets. And while those are certainly exciting, what makes the 1982 dime error so captivating is how subtle the mistake is. It's not flashy or obvious. It's simply missing a tiny mint mark, yet that subtlety is exactly what makes it special. It's a reminder that even the smallest details can have the biggest impact in numismatics. That missing P tells a story of human error, of oversight in the minting process, and of how chance and history combine to create something priceless. Collectors who own one of these dimes know they're holding more than just a coin. They're holding a piece of history. The Roosevelt dime, first introduced in 1946, was itself a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away the year before. Over the decades, the coin became one of the most familiar in circulation. By 1982, Americans had used Roosevelt dimes for decades without giving them much thought. That's why the error is so compelling. It took something so familiar, so routine, and revealed that even the most ordinary objects can contain extraordinary surprises. Auction houses have seen these coins ignite bidding wars among passionate collectors. The thrill of owning a coin as rare as the 1982 no mint mark dime drives prices higher and higher. Every time one of these coins comes to market, it captures headlines, sparking renewed interest in coin collecting among the public. People who have never cared about coins before suddenly find themselves checking their change, hoping they might be the next lucky person to uncover a hidden fortune. The scarcity of the coin is also what drives its incredible price range. While millions of dimes were minted in 1982, only a small batch was struck without the mint mark. Some estimates suggest only a few thousand made it into circulation, and only a fraction of those survive in high grades today. Condition is everything when it comes to value. A heavily circulated example might still be worth thousands, but a pristine, uncirculated piece can reach that jaw-dropping $126,000 mark. That difference is why collectors obsess over grading, preservation, and certification when it comes to rare coins. The story of the 1982 dime error also serves as a lesson in the importance of paying attention to details. How many people handled one of these coins in 1982, never noticing that it was different. How many were spent and lost forever because people didn't take a second look? That's what makes this coin both exciting and bittersweet. For every example that has been discovered, there are likely others that slipped through our fingers, never to be recovered. It's a reminder that history doesn't always announce itself loudly. It often hides in the smallest of details, waiting for someone observant enough to notice. For coin collectors, owning one of these dimes isn't just about the value. It's about the story, the rarity, and the thrill of being connected to a mistake that should never have existed. It's about being part of a community that treasures the unexpected and cherishes the idea that even something as ordinary as a dime can become extraordinary. That passion is what fuels the world of numismatics, and it's why coins like the 1982 error dime will always hold a special place in the hearts of collectors. The fascination with this coin isn't going away anytime soon. As more people learn about it, as more headlines emerge about record-breaking sales, and as more collectors enter the hobby, the demand will only continue to grow. And with demand comes higher prices, meaning that the already impressive range of $52,000 to $126,000 could one day climb even higher as the coin becomes even scarcer in the market. For anyone who owns one, it's not just a treasure today, it's potentially an investment for the future. The 1982 dime error is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of possibility. It shows us that even the smallest objects in our daily lives can carry hidden stories, hidden value, and hidden history. It inspires people to look closer, to pay attention, and to treasure the unexpected. And most importantly, it keeps alive the idea that the world is full of surprises, waiting for us to discover them. So the next time you hold a dime in your hand, take a closer look. That little coin might be worth far more than you ever imagined. And if by chance you come across a 1982 dime missing its mint mark, you could be holding a piece of history worth anywhere from $52,000 to $126,000. That's the magic of numismatics. And that's why the 1982 US dime error continues to captivate collectors and dreamers all around the world. In the world of coins, sometimes the smallest and most ordinary pieces turn out to be the biggest surprises. A coin that most people carry in their pockets without a second thought can actually be worth more than a luxury car or even a home if it has the right kind of error. One of the most fascinating examples of this is the 1996 United States dime. At first glance, it looks just like every other 10-cent piece struck by the US Mint that year. It carries the familiar portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the front and the torch, olive branch and oak branch on the back. A design that has been in place since 1946. But for a select few error coins from 1996, what appears to be just spare change is actually a hidden fortune. Some of these rare error dimes have been discovered to carry values ranging between $46,000 and $116,000. To understand why, we first need to think about how coins are made. The US Mint produces billions of coins every year using highly sophisticated machinery. Blanks, or planchets, are fed into presses that stamp them with designs from carefully engraved dies. With such a high-speed, high-volume process, mistakes are inevitable, and when those mistakes happen, the results can be astonishing. Most of the time, the mint catches and destroys coins with serious flaws, but every so often, a few slip through and make it into circulation. Those few become the rare gems that collectors dream about. One of the most famous types of 1996 dime errors involves off-metal strikes, where the coin was struck on the wrong type of planchet. Imagine finding a 1996 dime struck on a copper penny blank, or even more shocking, a foreign planchet. These coins look and feel different from the normal dime, and they immediately stand out once you hold them in your hand. Because they are so rare, collectors go crazy for them. And when they appear in high grades, it's not unusual for them to reach those jaw-dropping values between $46,000 and $116,000. Another important error that turns ordinary 1996 dimes into treasure is the double die error. This occurs when the die itself shifts during production, creating doubling on the design. The doubling can show up in the lettering, such as Liberty or In God We Trust, or in Roosevelt's profile. Some of these double die examples are subtle and hard to notice, but others are bold and immediately visible even to the naked eye. The bolder the doubling, the more dramatic the coin looks, and the more collectors are willing to pay. A 1996 double die dime in pristine mint state condition could absolutely command a price well within that remarkable $46,000 to $116,000 range. Then there are off-center strikes. These happen when the planchet is not properly aligned in the press, causing the design to be stamped off to one side. Some off-center dimes only have a slight shift, maybe 5 or 10%, but others can be 50% or more off-center, creating a dramatic crescent-shaped blank area. The most valuable off-center errors are the ones that still show the date clearly. That combination of rarity, visual appeal, and identifiable date makes them especially desirable to collectors. There's also the broad strike error, which occurs when the retaining collar that normally holds the planchet in place during striking malfunctions or is missing entirely. Without that collar, the metal spreads outward when struck, leaving the coin larger than normal and without the traditional reeded edge. A 1996 dime with this kind of error looks strange and out of place, which is exactly what makes it so collectible. One of the most exciting error types is the mule error, where two mismatched dies are accidentally paired together in the press. For example, if a 1996 dime were mistakenly struck with the obverse of another coin type, the result would be one of the rarest errors in American numismatics. Mule errors are so scarce that when one surfaces, the numismatic world takes notice, and values skyrocket instantly. While there are only a handful of known mule errors across all U.S. coinage, the mere possibility keeps collectors searching through pocket change and coin rolls, hoping to make that once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Another dramatic error seen in dimes, including those from 1996, is the missing clad layer. Modern dimes are not solid silver like they were before 1965. Instead, they are made from a copper core sandwiched between two layers of a copper-nickel alloy. Sometimes one of those outer layers is missing, exposing the red copper underneath. This makes the dime look unusual, almost like a penny, and collectors pay heavily for these types of errors, especially when they are authenticated and graded by services like PCGS or NGC. What makes these errors even more exciting is the fact that they are still being discovered today. The 1996 dime is not an ancient coin. It is relatively modern, and billions were struck. That means these rare errors are not locked away in museums or private collections. They are still out there, hiding in circulation, in coin jars, in piggy banks, or in rolls from the bank. Every time you handle a dime from 1996, there's a chance, however small, that you could be holding one of these extraordinary errors worth tens of thousands of dollars. There are real stories of people finding coins like this completely by accident. Someone sorting through their spare change might notice a dime that looks strange. Too big, off-center, missing part of its design, or showing unusual color. What seems like a curiosity at first can, after proper identification and grading, turn out to be worth life-changing money. Imagine the shock of learning that the dime you nearly spent at a vending machine is actually valued between $46,000 and $116,000. That's the kind of moment collectors dream about. Condition is another major factor in determining value. An error coin in poor condition is still valuable because of its rarity, but coins in higher grades, those that show no wear and retain their original luster, are the ones that reach the top of the market. This is why collectors and dealers place such importance on certified grading. When a coin is authenticated, graded, and sealed in a protective holder, it not only gives peace of mind to the buyer but also maximizes its potential selling price. A mint state 1996 dime error with a dramatic mistake is exactly the kind of piece that can break into the six-figure territory. The fascinating thing about the 1996 dime error story is how it captures the imagination. It reminds us that value is not always where we expect it to be. Most people overlook dimes, tossing them into jars or using them for exact change without a second thought. But hidden among the billions of ordinary coins are those incredibly rare pieces that can transform a single dime into a small fortune. It's a powerful reminder to slow down, pay attention, and look closely at the everyday objects around us. Think about the possibilities for a moment. What would you do if you discovered a coin like this? Maybe you'd sell it right away and use the money to pay off debts, buy a car, or put a down payment on a house. Maybe you'd hold on to it, knowing that its rarity would only increase over time, making it even more valuable in the future. Either way, the discovery of a 1996 dime error worth tens of thousands of dollars would be a life-changing event. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting. It's not just about owning shiny objects or completing sets. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the mystery of what's out there, and the possibility that the next coin you examine might be something extraordinary. The 1996 dime, with its potential to harbor rare and valuable errors, embodies that spirit perfectly. So the next time you come across a dime from 1996, don't just toss it aside. Look at it carefully, examine the edges, study the details, and pay attention to anything that seems unusual. Because among the countless ordinary dimes, there are a few extraordinary ones. Coins that transform from mere pocket change into treasures worth between $46,000 and $116,000. And who knows? The next one could be sitting quietly in your pocket right now, waiting for you to notice it.